Hey, hey,
Are we live?
we are live.
Nice. Okay. All right. Let's
I'm
make some
changing the
chit chat.
title. There we go. Francesca Hong. All
Francesca
right.
Hung campaign autopsy.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna slice this. We're gonna slice this corpse open.
Yeah.
Somebody
We're
with
going to figure this out. I don't think anyone else is quite positioned to do so.
you know. Um. Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting, right? Somebody who's like leading every poll. Although I mean, I think like
Yeah.
part of it is the Abdul. The Michigan Senate race kind of showed us that you know fucking polls are dog shit. Polls are fake dog shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. Like, I, I, I don't know what to make of it because, like, I think part of it is probably that these left leaning candidates are like activating more people who uh like rarely vote.
Hmm.
Um so it's just like not predictable based on their like surveys of likely voters or whatever.
Hmm.
So like that could be part of it. But also like I don't know. I've heard people, say things like I oh my god, my brain doesn't work. I've heard people saying things like it's funny how there's always like a spike soon before these primaries where the leftist candidate uh numbers go up like to this ridiculous degree. Um
Hmm.
Almost as if it's intentional to like drive down turnout because people think
Yeah.
they're like
Oh yeah,
like
she's
they
safe.
have it in the bag. And it's like I don't know.
I
That's a
wouldn't put anything
little.
past these fuckers. I
Oh
wouldn't
yeah, I
put a
wouldn't
single thing
either.
past these
I
fuckers.
just I think that's a little too conspiratorial. Like at the moment, I just don't see any like hard evidence of that. But yeah, I mean, who
Yeah,
fucking knows?
I don't have hard evidence, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's wait. Let's give a couple minutes for people to actually get in here.
Yeah.
Um, let's talk about our last couple of weeks. I did canvas for Ed Markey a couple Sundays ago,
Oh,
and
nice.
I want to get in another one before the end of the month. And It was a very fun, cool, exhausting experience. I talked to a whole variety of people. My favorite person I interacted with, I had two people that I my two favorite people. There's a lot of like either already voted or or going to vote. No, didn't already vote, or maybe they already voted because of mail-in or whatever, right? But there was a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm going to, or I already did, right?
Yeah.
Um, there was one guy who was a Republican,
Mhm.
who we actually had a nice conversation because his liberal wife was not home, but he's like, I will give this to her. I'm pretty sure this is who she's voting for, right? And I was like, oh yeah, cool, thank you, And he's like, he literally like opened the door and was like, I'm a Republican, but my wife's a liberal, which is like, man, what's that marriage like, right? Um, but then he says to me, he goes, why do you think Seth Moulton's running against Ed Markey?
All
And
right.
I mean, and obviously, like, I am in a position of representing a campaign, right? So I don't
Right.
want to like be like, well, fuck Seth Moulton. He's a fucking,
Fucking
he's a
opportunist twerp.
yeah,
Maybe
he's a
don't want
dumbass
to.
bitch. We fucking hate him. I don't want to be like that, right? As much as that is the official position of me, that is not the official position of the Ed Markey campaign. I'm pretty sure, at least. I mean, after Seth Moulton pulled the he's friends with Epstein type shit. Have you seen that shit going
What?
around?
No.
Yeah, he like because apparently somebody from Jeffrey Epstein's crew was like reaching out to a bunch of different politicians. One of them was Ed Markey's office. It's just there's no proof that these two guys ever met in person. It was apparently denied by Ed Markey's office, but just enough of that connection was enough for Seth Moulton to like send out an image of like literally like built like like put out a mailer with like Ed Markey and Jeffrey Epstein like together, like Photoshop them together and shit. Like it's like just complete scumbag techniques, right? So I think Ed Markey would be well within his right to be like, "Fuck you, Seth Moulton. You're a, you know,
Mhm.
you're a trifling
Yeah.
bitch," right? But I didn't want to say this to this guy in the moment, you know. So I said, "Well, I cannot speak to what Seth Moulton's intentions truly are for running here. I can tell you that it's somebody who has, not really followed, but been aware of Seth Moulton and been aware of Seth Moulton's attraction to positions of power. I just see him personally as somebody who seeks out power kind of at, very narcissistically, in my opinion. And he just does not seem like somebody who has good values, and I say this, irrespective of left versus right, because there are people, I think, that do have, consistent value systems. And I did, and this is, so I'm talking to conservative guy, right? And I say this, and I'm like, for example, I think somebody on the right who I think has a consistent value system would be Thomas Massey, with the way that he ran his campaign that he lost, right? And the dude just goes, "I fucking love Thomas Massey." It's like, I bet you do, buddy. I bet you do. But and I wasn't gonna go deeper into it, but
Yeah.
talking around a subject, right? But we found I found a shared moment with this
Yeah.
guy, right?
Yeah.
We're two people from two ends of the spectrum, but yet we connected in the middle. That Thomas Massey, saying "fuck Israel," pretty cool.
Right.
And then, but my favorite interaction was this old woman who was the first door we knocked on. So we hadn't like worked out our we were working out our pitch, we were working out our vibe, but it wasn't until the back half where we really, I think, started like kind of singing. It was me, my brother, and my wife. And so this older woman answers the door, and we hand her the little pamphlet for Ed Markey. We're saying we're canvassing for Ed Markey. We were hoping that he could count on your vote. And she's like, "I already voted for the other guy." It was like, "You voted for Seth Moulton?" And she's like, "Yeah." And now, mind you, because they said, obviously, if they tell you that they're voting for Seth Moulton, or they're not voting, or whatever, right? Or they express dislike for Ed, right? Like they're like, don't linger too long on it, right? And I was like, "But can I ask questions?" And they're like, "Yes, you can ask follow-up questions." And so I was about to test the limits of that. So I'm asking this woman, I was like, "Well, can I ask, why don't you like Ed Markey?" And she's like, "I don't like his policy." And I was like, "What policy is that?" And then she's like, "I'm in the middle of a church call," or something like that. Or she's like, "I gotta go, I'm going to church," or something like that. And my wife and my brother pulled me away. But man, did I want to know what policy of Ed Markey's this
Yeah.
old woman in Boston, in a suburb of Boston, Massachusetts, is hated enough to hate this guy for 40 years.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he seems pretty popular. Like, he's been there for like what, 50 years, I think, right? I
I
think
think
he
he's
entered the
87.
Oh, okay. I think he was in the house in like the 70s, I
Oh yeah,
think.
probably
Yeah.
before that. I'm pretty
Uh,
sure, based on the literature I was handed, he's been in the Senate since 1987. I mean, hey,
damn.
I wish we had somebody younger. I hope that if he wins this, he can designate a successor. He can
Yeah.
give his blessing to, preferably DSA member. That would
Yeah,
be
yeah,
nice.
he's like always facing a challenge from some like blue blood twerp, like these fucking guys. What was it, Joe Kennedy a few years ago? Um
Yeah.
And dude, I'm so fucking sick of the Kennedys, by the way. Like, dude, most fucking overrated family in American history. And I include fucking JFK and RFK in that. Like, yeah, they
They're
were
still the good
fine. Like,
ones
yeah, like JFK.
comparatively.
Yes, yeah. I'd like there are things I really appreciate about JFK, like but yeah, and I think
They're
CIA
like the
killed him.
Baldwins is like the first two aren't great, but they're still the best compared to.
Right, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and like JFK tried to end the Cold War in like 1961. Like he was like that's a whole thing we could get into,
Do you
but
think that's do you think that's why they took him out
I,
among
I
other
kind of do.
reasons?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
um but I think they were still like fucking anti-communist. They were still pro-American empire. They still did the fucking Cuban or the Bay of Pigs invasion
Hmm.
because the Soviet Union dared to put nukes in Cuba after we had already put them in Turkey, pointing at Russia. Like, that's they never mentioned that part in school. But I forgot what I was even talking about. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Like Ed
the
Markey's
Kennedys.
definitely
Yeah, Ed Markey. Yeah.
Ed Markey's definitely to my right. But yeah, I appreciate that this like old ass hippie guy has been like a firewall against, these
Hmm.
fucking careerist opportunist empty suits trying to advance their political trajectory.
Hmm.
Like fuck Joe Kennedy and Seth Moulton. They don't
Oh, they
they
suck.
yeah, they're not owed a political career.
Yeah,
Um
yeah. They suck. Just watching the way that like Seth Moulton, because they asked like us, like, so why are you here, and I was like, I'm gonna be honest, I like Ed. I've always liked Ed, right? Pretty sure I voted for him in every. RFK is the Alec. Somebody, okay, put that chat
oh
on screen. Juggernaut Magnum says RFK is the Alec. No, he's not.
the
JFK is the
Alec.
Alec.
Right. Yeah, because the Alec
Yeah,
has to be the most prominent too. Like,
yeah.
you know, if you're president, you're the Alec, I think.
Mhm.
How do I show on stream? There we go.
There we go. But yeah, so
Boom.
RFK is absolutely not. He is the Stephen. RFK is the Stephen Baldwin. That is like, that's just math, man.
Yeah. And then what is Billy
Yeah.
Baldwin, like the freak, like the Jesus guy?
Billy
Or
is like RFK, right? I mean, no, it's not RFK. He's like no, he's like the OG RFK. He's like the OG RFK. He's not
oh,
RFK
okay.
Jr.
So we're
So
talking
RFK
RFK
Jr.
Jr. is
Yeah, RFK current RFK is Stephen. All
okay.
right,
So Steven's
RFK.
the Jesus guy.
Yeah, Stephen. Yeah, Stephen is like the right wing
Okay. Yeah.
POS. Billy is Alec. Alec. Here's the thing. So I I had never really got. I knew that like 30 Rock was an amazing show, right? But I
Mm.
never really got into it when it was airing, just because I don't know why. Even though like I really liked um, Donald Glover and I knew he wrote for the first couple seasons, right?
Mm.
But so, and I had like seen Alec in a bunch of movies and shit, right? And so I had really most of my interactions with Alec Baldwin was his Trump SNL impression for a long time. Um, and
Yeah.
then the shooting shit blew up, right?
Yeah.
The shooting, right? And then right and then I decided to go back and watch all of 30 Rock. And you know how they say like the best watch order for Star Wars, right? Is you watch Star Wars Episode 4, then Episode 5. So you watch A New Hope, then you watch Empire Strikes Back, then you go back and watch the prequels, right? And like you get
Right.
to the Darth Vader is Luke's father reveal, then you watch the prequels to like, oh, and see the whole story of Anakin, right? Like do it like an anime flashback episode, right? Then you watch Return to the Jedi, right? I think the proper Alec Baldwin watch order is Trump, murder, and then all of 30
30
Rock.
Rock.
Yeah, because like I came out of that being like Alec Baldwin is a goddamn genius. Like that is like Jack Donaghy, right? Is it Donaghy, right? Is one of the best best fucking characters, one of the best fucking sitcom characters, and Alec Baldwin deserves every accolade and award he ever won for that. But RFK convinced his brother to go down south, or millions of Blisk moms wouldn't have JFK's picture on the wall. I didn't realize your analogy is purely cosmetic. Yes.
Well, we didn't say
Yes, it is.
purely cosmetic. It's like there's multiple factors. Also, like, yeah, I don't what like.
Yeah.
If we're talking like their politics, then
I'm just talking.
I don't
I'm
know.
just
I don't know.
I was just doing it, bro. I wasn't.
Yeah,
I wasn't realistically trying to.
Yeah, I don't know which of them would be closest in their politics to Alec
JFK
Baldwin.
is the most famous and arguably handsomest. That is where the analogy stops for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Alec is the legit talent. The rest are seriously mid.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah. Yeah. Do you mind if I play this short thing about JFK?
Go for it.
Jeffrey.
And then we'll get into the Francesca Hong campaign autopsy.
Okay. All right. Where's the short version of this? JFK peace speech. Oh, there it is. Okay. Let's do this. I think we squeezed all the juice out of that. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, we have completely squeezed all the juice out of the Baldwin Kennedy analogy.
All right, screen share. Isn't it fun to watch old people do a live stream? Okay. So this is Jeffrey Sachs. He's I think he's like an academic, and he's like
can we full screen that? Is there an option to hit that little arrow? Okay, that's slightly better.
Is that
still.
it? Okay.
Yeah, watching short sucks.
What's that?
Wait, Juggernaut Magnum went to acting school with Steven. That's cool.
Oh wow.
Did he suck then? Did he suck dog shit then? or is that a later thing? Okay, play this.
All right.
Missile crisis when, first of all, Kennedy rejected the advice of all his advisors except one, because they all said, go bomb these sites in Cuba. And now, in retrospect, we almost surely would not be here talking today had we gone on to do that. But Kennedy was very much more cautious. That was October 1962, and in 1963, Kennedy made a campaign for peace that led to the Partial Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, which was signed with the Soviet Union in July 1963. And it culminated, I think, in Kennedy's assassination because there were enough people in the U.S. government that didn't like his peace. The aftermath of the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not hard to believe.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, Jeffrey Sachs is an interesting guy. He's not like I wouldn't call him like leftist, but he's got very interesting and honest, I think, uh, analysis of history and geopolitics.
That's cool. I got it. Yeah, send me that. Send me that account. I want to see more of that. I want to.
Yeah.
I want to get more. I've got to fix my algorithm. Um, Jeffrey Sachs is an old school soft progressive.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, hey, there's nothing. I prefer an erect progressive when I can have it, but I'll accept a flaccid one. If it's the only kind of progressive that's available, but I gotta fix my algorithm because after I watched the prime time trailer, all of a sudden YouTube started feeding me like episodes of Takedown with Chris Hansen, which I've been
Oh
watching.
God.
I've been
Yeah.
I've been watching, and then once you watch one, there are like three more, and I'm like, hell
Yeah.
yeah, dude! It's just
The-
exactly, yeah, hell yeah, exactly. But
yeah.
it is. You know what? It's like, you know what? I did miss To Catch a Predator. I know that this is like a
Yeah.
vile way to create entertainment, right?
Right.
But it is. There is like this like sick satisfaction where you have like a sick, disgusting mofo who's like traveling across state lines to like go to a child's house to have sex with them, and then
Ugh.
just you get to watch in real time as they go from like and like they realize that their life is over and shit, and like when Chris Hansen, even in his old age, man, when that dude walks out from like the darkness, bro,
Yeah.
it is just
It's
like you
like
can
fucking
hear,
Batman catching you in
yeah,
the act.
which is funny because Robert Pattinson is playing him in the primetime movie, right?
Oh, really?
But yeah,
Nice.
so yeah, which is actually, I don't. We should never watch a trailer on stream. As somebody who did a movie review podcast a few years ago, I can tell you that motherfuckers be DMCAing that shit
Oh,
all the
yeah.
time. So I would
Especially
never.
YouTube. I think you can get
Yeah,
away with it on Twitch, but
yeah,
yeah,
no, yeah,
YouTube is
YouTube, yeah, just Facebook, dude. Facebook was the worst, honestly.
yeah.
So not something I would ever do here. I think like most news clips are pretty safe, right? But yeah, man. It is the trailer looks amazing, and they have him saying like, you see how this looks, right? They have him, and it actually turned into a meme. It's so you're gonna see, if you haven't already, like you see how this looks, right? uh can you imagine how hard it must be here for him to do regular things like going into Subway? Yeah, it is like the dude can't show up at like a party.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just there's gonna be somebody.
Right, you're right. You're like, you got
What did I
something to tell
do?
us, Dave? Like
Yeah. Uh, yeah. Okay. So let's get into it. All right. We should
Oh
get
yeah.
into shit. Uh, are you
Yeah,
okay?
shoot.
You are yawning, man. You need to take a
Yeah.
coffee break.
No,
You seem like
yeah, I'm good. I'm just
our energy levels are. You were like how I was last week, which is why I pulled out of last week. I was not in I was not in the mood.
yeah. No, I just like I don't sleep enough.
Yeah, me
Never
either.
have.
Yeah, no,
Maybe
that is
someday I
the
will.
same dog. Okay, so I've sent you the I'm sharing my screen.
Okay.
If you want to just pull that up.
There we go.
Okay, let's flip it. All right. Okay. Okay. So Francesca Hong. Actually, the last time we actually did one of these, we talked about Francesca Hong surging,
Yep.
and and she was far and away the favorite to win. I think. Oh, hey, thank you, Juggernaut Magnum. I love your name. I do love your name. I love, you
It
know,
is, yeah, it is.
you know, uh, X-Men villain condom size. It's a good recipe for a Twitch name, or a YouTube name actually. But yeah, so David Crowley, right? Who dropped out briefly, right? Dropped out briefly, and then the woman he endorsed had some like financial scandal, so
Yep.
she had to drop out, and then he re-entered the race, uh, and all of a sudden the entire establishment, Bernie 2020 style, just coalesced behind him. He got like I think he got like the nomination or the endorsement of the sitting governor, right? And there was like a bunch of other just shit, right? And so Francesca, who went into this primary, I think like the betting site odds were 95.5% in her favor, right?
Right.
Proof that you should not. Man, if man, I should have just emptied my bank account and placed a bet on fucking David Crowley 2 days ago. Man, I would be a rich man. But yeah, so he won. Francesca Hong immediately you know gave in, and much like Haley Stevens before her, immediately endorsed, and supported, which is, to Haley Stevens' credit. And we're going to be talking, because I do want to do a full campaign autopsy on Francesca Hong right here. Okay.
Yeah.
And we're going to be mentioning the Abdul El Said victory a lot, right? They're very similar, right? Both of them were, visibly up in polls leading into it, right? Were heavily favored to be the winner, right? Were projected to be a landslide victories. Both of them ended up coming down to extremely tight races. I believe Abdul won his by 1%, right? And then some of the stuff I saw had Francesca at a 0.4% loss, like 3,000 votes separated her and David Crowley.
I
right?
know. Yeah.
So and naturally, right? The same people who went online and said that, Abdul's victory is not a victory. It's he barely won, right? He barely won, right? Those same people are now turning around and writing articles, this crushing defeat for socialism and DSA, right? All of a sudden, you have those same people are now turning, in the same way that progressives are like, oh, the Abdul victory is a massive victory, right? And, and Francesca's loss is, not that whatever, right? And,
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think the thing to remember here is like, it's not a win because we wanted her to win. It's literally
disappointing.
it's not the outcome we wanted,
sure.
but like it does, it does say something that like same with Abdul, would have been nice to have a bigger win that really made a bigger statement. But I think it's a pretty big statement that he won despite like being outspent 10-1, which has never happened.
Yeah, I think he actually got outspent. He actually got outspent 11-1, I believe.
Yeah, yeah,
even insane, right?
Yeah, and that it broke like every record for a Senate race in terms of spending, and all most of that came from AIPAC. And he still fucking won, and it's like that's amazing. And then we can say with Fran, it's like look how close she got despite having no support. Like he and Bernie Sanders didn't even endorse her, which
Bernie, AOC, a lot, no national support.
Yeah,
right.
I don't like they were saying like we're focused on Congress, we're not going to endorse in governor's races, and it's like, well,
which is bullshit. But we'll get to Bernie. Bernie is coming up, right? I do want to talk about Thanksgiving Gate. All right.
Oh my god.
I think that I like Francesca as a candidate, right? But if you see the way, right? If you see the way, because Abdul has done a couple of these types of gotcha interviews, right? Where motherfuckers ask him about Hasan Piker, right?
Oh
when motherfuckers ask him about Israel, right? You know, or some random shit from his past, right? Or just something just vaguely Islamophobic, right? Because you have a Muslim name. I am going to be racist to you because that is socially okay, right? It is okay. You know, it's just my Democratic opponent is running attack ads calling me a terrorist, right? You know, and you know, and it's kind of funny, right? Because Haley Stevens in her resignation speech, right, in her I lost speech, right, she's like, he's a father of daughters, he's a doctor, and I was like, holy shit, he's all those things. The only thing I knew about him was terrorist up
Right.
until now, right?
Yeah.
The only thing I knew about him based on what you said was 9/11, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And you see all these interviews of Abdul, you know, like just backflipping, like doing Spider-Man moves on these motherfuckers, right?
Yeah.
You know, like there's like that reporter that came up on Abdul while he was just like walking somewhere, right? And the dude was like, you know, Trump says you're full of shit. What do you think of that? And Abdul's like, at least I don't let mine go in the Oval Office, right? Like he just boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom,
Yeah.
just turns all these moments into
Yeah.
campaign
They're
ads,
they're
right?
calling him Dark Mom Donnie.
Yeah, exactly. He
Like,
is. I literally said it, and actually in a group chat that I'm in, I literally said that, you know, after somebody posted that clip in the group chat, I said he is Zoran's Wario, right? Zoran
yeah.
is the Mario. Abdul is the Wario, right? And you need both if it's going to be a proper party game. So,
Right.
uh, contrast all that, and I'm sure anybody watching, if you're even vaguely on like online, like watching politics, you've seen some dope ass Abdul clips. Like the thing was like, women's like, oh, you never talk about this, and he's like, no, actually I do, you just don't report on it, you only report on fucking Israel, right? And just immediately boosh, right? Compare that to this, which I really do think that this was like, she was like, you know, 30 seconds from the finish line and fucking tripped and broke her fucking ankle here. Like
Yeah,
I
she's too
do think,
nice. She's too nice.
yeah, it's just because she tweeted a couple of years ago, right? Was it 2021, something like that, that
Yeah.
we should cancel Thanksgiving, which is stupid, and it's stupid. It's a
Right.
stupid thing. It's like
Right.
I
But like
understand.
a lot of people were talking like that back then, you know,
Yeah,
like,
I mean, yeah,
but
and
like
it's just,
our
woke one
politics
is what
have,
they're calling it, right? They're calling it
yeah.
woke one, right?
But the thing
Woke
about
one
people,
versus woke two.
yeah,
We're
yeah, which is I
you
love
know,
that. But like, yeah, the thing about
yeah.
people like Francesca, the thing about people in like DSA,
Hmm.
our politics have evolved. Like
Yeah,
we have matured over the years instead of like you know, these people who for 50 fucking years have been like communism's evil.
yeah,
That it's bad. You better condemn. Like, you know,
yeah.
and that just doesn't compute for a lot of people. So yeah, I mean, I think she fumbled this, but
She
yeah.
fumbled this. Now, I mean, it's just this right here. I saw some people try to say, "Oh, it was actually good," or "She did a good job." No, it's bad. It's bad, and I think that this was a major turning point. I think that anybody that was on the cusp, you know, especially like, you know, you got to understand, right, that like the big job that you have as a socialist is you need to reassure the normies. Okay,
Right, right.
Zoran is very good at that. Zoran has what he has like a 69% approval rating, like an insane approval rating for a mayor in New York City, like unheard of, right? It's just because he's a normie whisperer. He's like, yes, yes, yes. Remember how you felt during Obama? Oh yeah, remember, you know, like I'm bringing that old school Obama feeling back, right? The fucking white person fucking dopamine extractor, right? That you install into the brain, right? But this was an extremely bad answer to a question. Let's just watch it.
You know, you talked about your past positions that he keeps highlighting and, you know, obviously likely would continue to do so before November should you win. One thing that they brought up as well was a post from you in 2021 where you said Americans should cancel Thanksgiving, should have done this in 1621. The post has been deleted. Republicans have been highlighting it. Do you still believe that Thanksgiving should be canceled?
I'm a chef, and one of the
right there, right? I'm a chef.
I'm a
That's
chef.
the first thing you say after that. It's like,
Yeah.
it should be like, of course not. I was trying to make a point. They are just attacking me because they want to distract from the fact that they want to build a data center in your backyard, right?
Right. Right.
If Zoran were in this position, right, Zoran would be like, listen, of course I don't believe that. Of course I don't believe that. My goal here is to focus on affordability, right? It's just funny that we're all talking about Thanksgiving when the average person in my constituency won't be able to afford Thanksgiving. Like, there's so many moments. There's so many, like, we have the blueprint now for how you deal with this as a socialist. And this is
and well, she doesn't even have to like disavow the point she was trying to make there, which is like, and I think she says something about this, about like, this is like a painful reminder for some people, and like we want to.
We only got like a minute left.
First meals that I made that was for the community when I was 16 was a Thanksgiving meal. I always think my hospitality background in owning a restaurant for 7-8 years, that bringing folks around the table to share conversation and build community is always a good thing. But Thanksgiving is also a time that's incredibly painful for many people in our communities. And so I think I wanted to make sure that people understood that there are multiple views, but views can evolve. And the position that I'm running for right now, and I think my background as a chef, will actually help me become a better governor that's able to bring more people to the table.
Francesca Hong, thank you for joining us. We hope to have you back on, depending on how things go next week in your primary.
No follow-up question from this woman.
Thank you so much for having me, Caitlin.
You knew, right? Like the moment that the moment that she ended the interview there, she was like, I got what I needed here. The I'm a chef is just, I hope she fired whoever wrote that for her. It's just
Well, I think that whole thing, like trying to do this fucking, like, it's like Kamala Harris with like the, my babysitter was a small business owner or whatever the fuck bullshit she was talking. It's like,
it's fake. It's
right.
Fake.
That's the thing. And it's like, just like you said, just say, no, of course I don't think that. It is painful for some people, and I try to acknowledge that, but that doesn't mean that, I want to shame everyone else for celebrating. But here we are talking about my tweets when, again, data centers, but
exactly, right? Like David Crowley is going to build a fucking, or Tony, what's the fucking, what's the dude? Yeah, something like that, right? Tony Gilroy, not Gilroy, he's a cool dude. But fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like you just get back, and she just didn't have. And the problem is that I think that she had her demeanor is good for like when she was doing outreachy stuff in the community, right?
Yes.
Like, I think her demeanor was really good for like local representative type people, right? But you are going for a position that is on the national stage. This became a national election once it was like, once you started overperforming in the polls, right? This became a national election, and she very much clearly has some leveling up to do. And that moment where, you get asked this super gotcha, pointless, dumb question that you should have, that Abdul in the same position would have been able to, backflip over, would have made it, would have fucking, break danced on her and made it look fucking, schnasty, right? um, you know, and instead she gives like the first 3 paragraphs of, one of those dumb family recipes that you find on Pinterest, right? Like it's, you know what I'm saying? Like it literally, it's like, I'm a chef, and when I go home for the, holidays, and it's just, and it was just such a bizarre response. And, I think that a lot of people who maybe were planning on voting for her, that, because I think that, yeah, I mean, ideally, right, in the perfect world, everybody's always voting in their interest, but that is not the world we live in. People are,
Right.
a lot of people, some people are, right? Some people, I mean, she still got 40%, almost 40% of the vote can vote, right? She still got within literally a half a percentage point. If she had done a half of a percentage point better, she would be the nominee, right? And she would be
Right.
going general, right? Like she still did very well, right? Because a lot of people were voting for their lives because they understand like how much a data center in their backyard is going to just decrease their quality of life, right? They understand that, like, she is the only person who is not bought and sold by corporations, right? So a lot of people are voting for their fucking lives here, right? But there's clearly just as many people who are voting on vibes, and the vibes were off with right there, right? The vibes were not immaculate. They were
Right.
and I hate that we live in that world, right? So
Yeah.
so when you see people like, oh, the progressive movement, they want to do anything they can to discredit the progressive movement, right? But I think that we do need to look at each of these individually, right? So I think that, but I do think that we need to admit that Francesca here's the thing. I think that she'd be a great candidate to run again, right? I think there's like a Senate seat
Yeah.
opening up in a couple of years, right? In
Yeah.
in Wisconsin, right? I think that she should take like 2 or 3 improv classes. And
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I'm
Seriously.
saying? Like she should do
Go to
she
Chicago.
yeah, she needs to do, fucking have somebody sit her down and take her through. She needs to like drop some acid, and she needs to bomb a few open mics, and maybe she needs to get stress tested, right? I do think though that wouldn't have been a problem. That would not have been a problem. Let me just cue this up real quick, because I think that if that were the only thing, right, she would have been fine. I think
Yeah.
she still would have won.
Oh
But
no, I
then,
think I saw this too.
yeah, but then this type of shit became national fucking news, right?
I noticed you haven't yet endorsed in the Wisconsin governor's race. What's your thinking there, and might you endorse? Or
I don't think so. I met Francesca a couple of years ago.
Doesn't
I
even
was
know
in
her fucking name.
Wisconsin, and she seems very, very nice. But again, this is a race I just am not that familiar with. We have not gotten involved in many governor's races. I think we did one in Maine with
Yeah,
Troy
Troy.
Jackson. Obviously,
Troy
my
in Maine
major
for
concern
governor.
right now
Right.
is seeing that we have a Senate and a House that is going to stand up to Trump. That's really where my focus is. So as of now, we have not been involved in that race.
So that's one, right? And
Yeah.
then,
Yeah, see.
one second. Let me pull this up now. So, and we're gonna play my dog, my boy, Ken Clip. I love Ken Clip.
Hmm.
Okay. You can never make me hate Ken Clip. All right.
Yeah, he's great.
His Graham Plattner article be damned, right? Yeah, so he did this video, but this was the best version of the clip I could find. So like I wanted something that just isolated the clip.
AOC just said she isn't endorsing Francesca Hong for governor of Wisconsin, but the news coverage of Ocasio-Cortez's position has been very misleading. Take a look at what she actually said.
No, I haven't endorsed in that race. My focus has been in winning back the Congress. These races ultimately are local, and all politics are local.
And that's not just rhetoric. I looked up AOC's endorsements this cycle and realized she hasn't endorsed any state-level races this cycle outside of her home state of New York. So be on the lookout for media headlines like these that try to spin this as a loss or a snub of Hong. You know, it's almost like they really don't want her to win.
And they were successful in that desire. But yeah, so those two things, like the Thanksgiving gate, I think did some damage, right? But I also think that the fact that mainstream, just kind of like the two of the party's biggest stars. I mean, like literally, like Bernie is like our fucking G, right? He's like, there would be no, like, he is the godfather of modern progressives, right?
And I think they're both consistently, they've both been number one, and I think they're consistently in the top 5 most popular politicians in the country.
Yeah, and AOC is currently, at least polling wise, right, the front runner in the 2028, Democratic primary, right? I mean, let's knock on wood, right? I would love to be able to vote for AOC in a I'm definitely going to be able to vote for her in the primary. There's no way she's not running, right? And I would love to be able to vote for her in the general as well. That is, I mean, I don't think she's perfect, and I haven't agreed with everything she's ever said or done, right? But fucking, compared to whatever the opponent's going to be, either JD Vance or Tucker Carlson, or Mecca Trump, if they build the suit for him, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think like that is, I think that AOC is going to be much better, but I think that the fact that it became national news, right? Because I was just in my normal feeds, right? I was seeing both of those, and I've seen speculation for why both of those people didn't endorse her, right? I think that I saw some people say that Thanksgiving Gate was that toxic, right? That which, I mean, I don't know if I agree with, right? I think it's such a dumb controversy, like straight up stupid fucking controversy, stupid manufactured dumb fucking controversy, that if she had a good answer for it, she could have hop, skipped, and jumped over it, right? But I think that, like, some people were seeing it as like, oh, there's like an old style of politics, or an old style of liberalism that we just don't want to have that stink on us, right? I call it the buzzkill left, right? Like did you watch the latest Mark Maron special? I think it was on HBO.
Not the latest, no.
The one where he goes in on Theo Vaughn, right?
Oh, yeah, I've seen some of that material. Yeah.
But he had a bit where he's like, liberals, we got to work on our buzzkill problem, right?
Yeah.
And and it's the buzzkill. It's the this thing that you really like. It's actually bad, and you're a bad person for liking it, right? It's the same thing. Like, I've seen people, really rail against the new Harry Potter show, and I don't give a fuck about Harry Potter. And I honestly, I read the first 3 books when I was a kid, and then I fell off of them because I went to church, and I went to a church, and the church said that it was evil, so my mom threw away all my Harry Potter books, right? But I never went back. And then as an adult, my wife, made me, before JK became super fucking, before the mold took her, right? Before the mold ate her brain, right? My wife made me watch all the Harry Potter movies, and I did, and I was like, these are fucking mid. And I was like, I remember the first 3 books being pretty good. They'd probably be good as a TV show, but then J.K. Rowling, came out as like the most anti-trans person alive or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so fucking I was just like, fuck it, right? But the backlash against that Harry Potter game a couple years ago made that game become like the biggest game in the world. Like, it beat out Call of Duty Modern Warfare that year or some shit, right? Like, it was like the #1 game by a mile, which was like unheard of to like beat a Call of Duty game for most sales made in a year, right? And I think that the same way that like people are going to do the same signal boosting thing, I think we're going to see this Harry Potter show just go over the moon, right? We're going to see the new Harry Potter show. It's going to come out. It's going to be doing like Spider-Man Brand New Day numbers on HBO Max. We're going to see things like it's the most watched show in HBO Max history. It's going to be, fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like it's going to be, a huge hit, right? I'm predicting it, right? But I think that this type of stuff, like you're enjoying something that is problematic, you need to stop enjoying it or you're a bad person for, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think you need to get away from that. And I think that we're seeing some of that with like national progressives. And I think that's part of why, I think also that it was like, the polling matchup, her versus the Republican, was not great for her. And I think that, if Bernie and AOC all endorsed and then she lost, I think that they were worried that would kind of blow back on them and that would weaken their position. Right?
Yeah. I will say, I think it's been certainly understated this cycle for obvious reasons, but like those like, general election matchup numbers, I think go up pretty quickly once there's a nominee, because they're the nominee. But yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I think, oh no, I hid the wrong thing.
Oh
no.
Yeah.
Remove overlay. That's what I meant. Okay. But yeah, no, I wanted to add to that like, you were talking about like the role of socialists running for office. And I think part of that is to celebrate culture, because that is something that great socialist leaders did well in the past. I think honestly, Bernie Sanders is pretty good about this. He understands like, actually, I was just talking to my wife about how he he was, when he was asked about Hasan, he was talking about Hasan's like radio show or something.
Yeah,
he doesn't understand what streaming is. but the thing is, like, he'll go on the stream.
Got one of those live on camera radio shows.
And like the thing is, he'll go on the stream. That's the thing, is like he gets that like this is where it is now. He just doesn't have the language, so he's gonna be like, it's like talk radio. I don't know. And but like, and I remember like
it's like an old person trying to like figure out like non-binary. It's like, so they're like not even a person. They're like not a boy or a girl. They're kind of nothing,
Right. Yeah, just some well-meaning like yeah, but yeah, and Bernie's like he can fucking talk to people about sports and like shoes. Like, I don't know, like he's just down with the people in a lot of ways. And that's something that, yeah, again, like even the scariest socialist leaders you've been told about, like I think Castro and Che Guevara like were very in touch with people and understood like what people valued and what their like leisure activities were, and didn't like discourage a lot of those things. I think even fucking like Lenin and Stalin were like that. And then you can point to like people who made mistakes, like Mao, I think, made a big mistake with like I understand the motivation at first, but like I understand the murder, but not that.
No, that was good. That was good.
Yeah, well, but that's the thing, is like a lot of those deaths people like rant and rave about are like just because he made some dumb decisions. Would like I understand the motivation for a Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution, and if I knew more details about it, I'm sure some good came out of it. But at the same time, it's like yeah, you like try to force progress on people. That's not how it works. And you can't just be
Mhm.
like, all the old shit, we got to leave that behind. Fuck that shit, we're done. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, man, that's not how like people work. And I think that um China has done much better since overcoming that
Mhm.
mentality. But yeah, that's an important thing. Uh
Yeah, I mean, and also you
because
got to kind
yeah,
of acknowledge, right, that like Thanksgiving, the context, like using, I understand that like historical context and all that, right? But what it is now is a completely different thing. It's don't you dare take away my 4-day fucking weekend, you motherfucker. I get 4.5
right.
days because I get to leave at noon on Wednesday, all right,
Oh
and
hell
then I
yeah.
have 4 full days of just staying up till 6 a.m. every day playing video games. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, don't you
Yeah.
fucking take that away from me,
Right. And
Francesca Hog.
yeah, and the thing that's like the
You'll
reason
never get
it's
my Thanksgiving. And I get a big meal. I
from
get a
my
big
cold dead
meal.
hands. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but the thing of that, the reason it was silly, it was a silly attack, was because like she's
Mhm.
not gonna fucking like cancel that Thanksgiving doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Like she could, it's a national holiday. First of all, she
Yeah.
can't be like Wisconsin's not
Federal.
celebrating anymore. But like, even if she
Yeah.
somehow did that, people would still do it. Like, what do you mean?
People
Like,
would
that's not gonna
riot.
happen.
She would
Yeah,
get listen, the governor's house would get January 6th if they
right,
really
right.
tried to get, and she, and so the response should have been very flippantly like, of course, of course
Yeah,
not. Like, that
right.
was just me. Listen, I just felt a way. I wanted to say something, just acknowledge the cultural thing. It did not come off like I meant it.
Right.
Like, I'm
Well,
very
because
sorry.
yeah, because
Don't,
again,
don't even.
because
You can't say sorry. I'm sorry. You can't say sorry because if
right,
you
no,
say
you can't
sorry,
apologize
then yeah,
because it
but it's
doesn't
just like,
matter. It's never gonna like
yeah.
quell
But you
them.
got to
But like,
quickly turn it back on to the economic and the fucking,
yeah,
you know.
but yeah, again, it's like this was 2020, 2021, and like, I know people are like mad at AOC for saying woke one was crazy or whatever, and it's like, I'm sorry, she doesn't mean whatever you think she means by that, so like, chill
Yeah.
the fuck out. But like, but yeah, it's true that like for the first fucking time in their lives, a lot of like, frankly, and I'm not saying this to like brag on people. It's just like a lot of white Americans for the first time were like, oh, I'm seeing in fucking 4K now what minorities have been dealing with, what black
Mhm.
people have been dealing with in this country. And they weren't fucking joking when they said all this shit about the
Yeah.
police and everything.
So I'm gonna try to
So like, all
overcorrect
right,
for that shit.
right. And yeah, it was like I read Robin DiAngelo and Ibram X. Kendi and all this shit. Like, and like, yeah, I think it was a little bit like a little goofy that we were all going around like abolish the police and all this shit. Cause
Yeah.
like Mike from
Abolish
PA has
prisons.
a
I mean, like, they're,
right.
these are
But
just.
yeah, and like Mike from PA has a good take on this where it's like, um, you know the reason that things like abolish the police or defund the police and abolish prisons and this and that, it's like the reason those are bad slogans is because no one really knows what they mean. Like they kind of mean different things to different people. It's like
Yeah.
you have the initial reaction, but you also have like activists who say it mean different things by it.
Mhm.
And it's like if you want to like sell this idea, like if you want to like make reforms and progress on policing and prisons, you have to have a programmatic view. You have to have an actual like, here's what we need to do, and something that makes sense to people. Where it's like, okay, oh, yeah, like Zora Mamdani handled this perfectly. Again, like he said, uh, okay, like no, we're not going to decrease the police head count, and what
The
I believe that
finest in
police.
charge, they stay there.
Right. And it's like the police, I believe, play a role in public safety, but
Mhm.
I do think that we're expecting them to handle too many things that are
Mhm.
maybe like not in the realm that they even expected to do as police.
Mhm.
And it's like, yeah, that's the thing. That is what defund the police meant. But
Mhm.
instead of going defund the police, he fucking explained the policy, and
Mhm.
people were like, "Oh, okay, that's not so bad." Like,
Yeah. So yeah, so but I think that I think that it's a shame that Francesca lost. I think that I wish that I feel like she would have had a better shot, even with the Thanksgiving gate shit, right? I think that she would have won if she had the endorsement of Bernie and or AOC.
yeah,
I think that whatever political math that they did where they said we're not going to endorse this, right? I think that ultimately did her the fuck in. I think that it is that in my opinion, right? I think that their endorsements could have moved the needle. I think that the former governor endorsing David Crowley was devastating for her.
yeah.
We've had two midterm, we have two or not two primary, midterm primary, progressives getting getting the old guard. But I think that I forget the name of the Wisconsin governor. Apparently the Wisconsin governor is very popular in
Mhm.
Wisconsin versus Gretchen Whitmer was not super popular in Michigan. So like her endorsement was actually more toxic to Haley Stevens, but this guy endorsing David Crowley was a devastating blow. I think that Francesca just had a whole bunch of she had everything going right? And then it's just one of those devastatingly timed blue shells. Like she was 20 seconds away from winning the Mario Kart race. And then the blue
Blue
shell of,
shell.
the Thanksgiving gate and, people not endorsing her. And then David Crowley having like that last, like the establishment's like, okay, we're going to make one last push. Like it all just, you know, and the blue shell hit her and she couldn't, she still almost won, but she was just 0.4% too slow. And it's sad, because I think that, I think if one thing that we've all learned is that the people of Wisconsin, they yearn for data centers.
Yeah.
They love their data centers. They want their backyard to be just they want their the beautiful forests of Wisconsin to look like Mordor, and they want all of their cheese to bubble over and melt and turn black, because of the temperature rising because of the data centers. So I hope you guys get what you deserve.
Yeah. Oh my god, it fucking sucks. But yeah, it just, you know,
Mhm.
something just occurred to me talking about Bernie and AOC. For some reason, like all these like aging, like uh, so like socialists
Mhm.
in all these Western countries, uh, have like a young woman who's who's like their chosen successor. I'm just
Mhm.
picking up on this pattern. There's Bernie and AOC. There's
Mhm.
in the UK, there's Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana.
Mhm.
Um,
Lindsey Graham and his sister.
yeah, yeah, the great socialists of yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They
Spain,
were,
the president of Spain, and
I mean,
there's like
Lindsey Graham, he was socialist at the truck stops. He was
the,
everybody
oh Jesus, um,
everybody gets a piece here.
uh, um, yeah, but I forget their names. The Socialist Party is in power in Spain, and the president has like you know some young socialist woman who's like the successor coming up. Like
You need a
that's just funny.
young listen, it's just easier to sell things to the masses if you have a young hot woman. I mean, but the IDF knows this, and the IDF uses this,
Right.
they got, you know what I'm saying? They got their Okay, so you wanted to talk about the mainstream media's Hasan derangement system. Syndrome. Do we have any links for that?
Um, Not offhand. Let me see.
I mean, I guess we could turn on Fox News and wait like 10 minutes. We'll
Right.
see one.
Yeah, yeah. What if I just YouTube Hasan Piker? Yeah, immediately. Jake Tapper. Just
Yeah, just
let.
pull up. Yeah,
Oh,
no,
okay. Yeah,
go
let's
back
do
to YouTube.
this.
Go back to YouTube proper. Okay,
Yeah, let's do this.
share your screen. I want to
Okay.
see every. I want to see every step of the way. I want to see what the algorithm shows you because I will tell you, right? I was searching Reddit, looking for a good porn sub to get into, right? A couple days ago, and the auto suggested thing, like where how like they'll have like the suggested search terms, like you could search this, right? It's literally Hasan Piker caught shocking dog.
Oh my God.
Like in like
Dude.
Reddit served that to me. Reddit was like, you want to search for Hasan Piker shocks dog. Like
Yeah.
I could not fucking believe it, right?
Yeah. It's so fucking unreal. Like, because I watch Hasan pretty much every day. And
Yeah, me
like,
too. Most days now. It's been the last couple months. I've become a
yeah.
real Hasan head.
And to really understand at least, his public persona. I don't know the guy, but like, to have come to really understand where he's coming from.
Yeah,
And then to see the fucking way that they're portraying him is just so disgusting.
hilarious.
Like they're trying to get him fucking assassinated. Some of these
Oh,
people.
100%.
Like,
They would love if he. The only
yeah,
thing stopping it, I think, is that like, kind of what the right hoped would happen to Charlie Kirk, right? Like where when Charlie Kirk first died, there was like this whole thing. It's like he's a hero, and you
yeah,
can't say shit about him. But then, of course, that intense, like this kind of like people were losing their jobs, like where
right,
like we were like feeling like like you couldn't like if you make a joke, we'll end your whole fucking life, right? Like all this
yeah,
shit, right? And then the way that like the backlash was insane, and then We Are Charlie Kirk was like all of our permission to laugh at it, right? I think that they realized that if Hassan did get Kirk, right? Like I feel like he would legitimately become this socialist martyr, and we would legitimately see, like he would be Obi-Wan Kenobi. He would only become stronger if like somebody. So I think like they're, like they, as much
yeah,
as they probably wish, I think what they really want to do to him is like, I think they want to, and Ethan Klein's tried to do this, right? I think they want to Graham Plattner him. I think that is
yeah,
that would be, if they can find, they're probably every chick he's ever glanced at in public, they're
yeah,
probably like, offering like a bunch of money to like say some stuff, right?
yeah.
I
Oh,
think that.
dude, wait till they figure out that he like dated a porn star.
Who did he date?
Like,
Was it
I don't remember. I
was it
don't know if it's like
Mordecai?
um I don't know. I
'Cause
don't
I
know if it
remember
was her,
seeing a
but
clip of Mordecai saying that she shot her shot at so you're saying the song. Okay, D2A is back. Oh god,
oh
I love
great.
D2A. Let's pull this back up. Let's pull this.
Our
Is
biggest fan.
our biggest fan. Am I saying Hassan should get? Of course not. I think that he's an important voice in the left movement, and I think that
Right.
if you want somebody who gets the youth involved in politics, I think that there is literally nobody better. And I've seen like multiple takes. I think Vosh had the take. I think like a couple other people I saw that like in the wake of Abdul's really close race, people saying like, oh, Abdul should stop campaigning with Hassan. And I think that is ridiculous and a mistake. I think that the only reason Abdul won that race is because he had the backing. This dude has he makes socialist politics cool to Gen Z, man. Like that is
Yeah.
worth its weight in fucking gold. And
Hassan will have a candidate like Abdul or Francesca, like he'll have a candidate on his stream, and within an hour or two that he has them there, he raises like $80,000 from his audience. Like
yeah, I mean, yeah,
it's
Francesca Hong like raised like 50K in like one stream or some shit, right?
yeah,
It's just
it's
that's probably it's like, and that's another thing with the Francesca Hong, right? She didn't do any like terrestrial TV ads. She only did like I think ads on like streaming services, which are way cheaper than
Mhm.
doing ads on like basic cable. And that's like another thing, right? Is that her money allocation was miscalculated. right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
Well,
yeah,
I was saying on the last stream that like I don't want Hasan or Zoran Mamdani or whoever to like do all the like outrageous shit that like Orthodox Marxists demand that they do, and then they get assassinated. Like
yeah.
I don't there's enough there's enough like heroes in history who that happened to. And it's like I'm glad they seem to have an idea of how to navigate because I
You're
don't
not gonna you gotta kind of frog in a boiling pot, people. You know, you gotta like we gotta like. Here's the thing. Let's start with taxing billionaires.
right.
Okay, let's you know what I'm saying. Uh,
Tens of millions from APAC, 80K, and his offhand remarks giving ammo for the Oppo adverts might not be worth it. Yeah, $80,000 for socialists, not worth it. Yeah, dude.
yeah, I mean
No, that's
$80,000
fucking giving in,
is
dude.
I mean
Like,
they need every dollar they can fucking fundraise,
yeah,
dog. Like
dude.
that's
Like,
$80,000 they didn't have otherwise. That's probably because they're
yeah,
going up against tens of millions because they
dude.
don't have that infrastructure.
Yeah, but the fucking the violence and hate and bile and fucking like literal like you know like IRL like murders and fucking um you know, riots like January 6th that have been fomented by people like Tucker Carlson and then, you know, back in the day, Bill O'Reilly
Yeah.
and Rush Limbaugh. These people are fucking vile. And not once, like, they don't even get challenged on it. Yeah, you know, to even like 1% of what people are getting with Hasan. Um, and not once has any fucking Republican apologized for a single goddamn thing any of these people have said. And
Yeah.
they are happy to talk to them, you know, like Tucker Carlson's like off in his own world now. But whatever it is, you know,
He's buddy
Trump
buddy
had
with Hunter
dinner with
Biden.
Nick Fuentes and Kanye West. That is like completely acceptable. And they are trying to like equate Hasan with Nick Fuentes while also not reacting to Nick Fuentes in the same way. So
Yeah.
like I
He's not.
say,
Here's the thing, 'cause he's not popular now. I mean, I think if Nick Fuentes became more of a national figure, if Nick Fuentes was campaigning with
right.
Republican candidates and getting them elected and stuff, I do think that some of that shit would probably come up, right? But Nick Fuentes is kind of staying out of it. Whereas Hasan is getting involved. He is kind of becoming in his own way a kingmaker. Obviously, there are limits, right? Because he could not get Francesca over
Yeah.
the fucking line because he could not, muster up the national progressive support for her, right? But he was still kind of the loudest voice for her. Him and Mike, right? Him and Mike from PA.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, she launched her campaign on Mike's stream.
Yeah.
And it's so no, I don't think there's any fucking apology to be made. I think you turn your head to the wind and you fucking brace the storm and you smash through like the brick walls they put in front of you and you say, fuck you, we're here, we're staying. Like, dude, like this is the thing too about like past and present socialists in the world. Like this is something Mike from PA will say because people will get discouraged and they'll be like, I don't know, man, they're never going to let us get in there and have power. And he's like, guys, the Red Army in China marched 2,000 miles and fought 600 battles. And they withstood genocide from the Japanese. They withstood the cessation of secession. I don't know how you say that, like what the South did with the Kuomintang and Taiwan, and famines and all this shit, and like once you have marched 2,000 miles and fought 600 battles, then you can talk to me about giving up. But like, we're gonna, because of some fucking Oppo research, some Oppo adverts, we're gonna be like, oh, okay, sorry, Mr. Capitalist, we'll tone it down a bit. Fuck that. They will never stop. There's always gonna be something.
Yeah, I mean, and I think like I think probably in this clip that you're about to play, right? Like Abdul has done an amazing job, and Zoran in interviews, right, where he's been given gotcha Hasan questions, right, has done amazing job. It is very easy to hopscotch over this fucking shit, right? It's just so Dito A, ADK in his offhand remarks giving ammo to the Oppo adverts. Here's the thing, it's still worth it. It's still fucking worth it for the fucking for the visibility, for the access to the fan base, people who will phone bank for you. It's like literally free fucking phone banking.
Yep.
It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially like when Hasan does the live streams where he literally canvasses in neighborhoods and he walks through neighborhoods, right? Like that is that promo, which is coming, like, I don't know if here's the thing, they might be paying Hasan on the back end, right? Like, I assume like if he's flying out, he's not doing it on his dime. Maybe he is. Maybe he's just
I think he is,
nice.
but yeah, I mean, who knows?
I mean, that's even more credit to the guy, honestly, right? But even if they're like, hey, we're gonna like pay you like 20K or some shit, right, or 10K or whatever, right? Like, even if he has like a fee to do that, right, or at least like we're gonna cover the flights, we're gonna put you in business, right? Shit like that, right? Like, I think that even that is worth it, right? But I think that attention is worth its weight in gold, and I think that anyway, so play the clip.
I just want to say, like, if it wasn't him, it would be something else. And one way that he puts it is like every attack against him is a moment they're not attacking the candidates. So like, I think it's a misfire ultimately, but we'll see.
Every campaign that has spent more time talking about Hasan Piker than the candidate has lost.
Yeah.
All
right. So here's Abdul.
Francesca probably could have used a lot more of Hasan's stink on her, honestly. If you think about it that way. She did not get asked about him. She got more questions about Mike from PA than she did about Hasan.
Okay, so I'm going to speed this up a little bit. We don't have to watch the whole thing, but this is Hasan's reaction to Abdul getting grilled by Jake Tapper. I think this is kind of as full as I can.
Nope, right there. Nope, right there. Right there. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
There you go.
Ooh, El Sayed on Jake Tapper. The second time for our boy.
Is trying to paint a rosy picture of the economy. You and others are pointing to the affordability crisis affecting people in Michigan and elsewhere. Democratic voters are frustrated, as I don't need to tell you. They don't think that your party's doing enough to fight Donald Trump on these issues, especially like affordability. If you're elected as a Democratic senator with a Republican president in November, what can you actually do about that?
Well, look, let me just tell you the picture from my state. We've been up and down the state now. I've been at this for 15 months, been to 110 cities, over 500 public events. Everywhere I go, people say the same thing. It just shouldn't be this hard. It shouldn't be this hard to afford your groceries or fill up your tank or worry about getting sick without having to worry about losing everything, too. And we ran this campaign to do three things: get money out of politics, put money in your pocket, pass Medicare for all. When I'm elected to the U.S. Senate, the first thing we need to do is start holding the Trump administration accountable. When we win, God willing, I will take my seat as a member of a Senate majority. That gives us.
By the way, he ain't slick. He drops that God willing all the time. He's doing inshallah American style. Okay, he's doing it the English way with the old English. Respect.
Subpoena power to be able to investigate all of the ways that this administration has used their power for their gain and enrichment and against ours. And I think that means hauling them up to
Not to give the atheists any more ammunition because they get really annoying in this chat sometimes, but it is kind of wild that you have a easier go at it being a Muslim than if someone were to be like, I'm an atheist and I'm running as an atheist.
Yeah.
American politics is fascinating when you think about it.
That would be interesting. That hasn't happened yet.
That literally doesn't make sense. But honestly, which by the way, Abdul is not, for the record. I wasn't implying that. I'm just saying that, like, the atheists always hit that line when they'll say, like, even in a country as Islamophobic as America, like, someone who's an atheist would probably have a tougher time winning an election or being openly atheist than someone who's a Muslim in an Islamophobic country. It kind of makes sense.
Really understand all the conversations that were had about who got to get refunds after this terrible tariff policy, who got to get excluded from those refunds. It means hauling up people like RFK Jr. and holding them accountable for the doging of our public health apparatus, for which
Obama was an atheist, LARPing as a Christian.
So like I like Abdul, like, naming the enemies, naming the crimes. It's good. I do hope that he's got more in mind than like Senate hearings. Because those are nice for clips and shit, but you know, we'll see.
So does he get asked about
That's
Hasan
funny.
in this clip?
I don't know what his belief system is. I thought he was Muslim man, brother. His middle name is Hussein.
Noted as Medicare for All. Senator Bernie Sanders' proposal right now only has 17 co-sponsors in the Senate.
Of the 2026.
Have you ever wanted to see
No,
your
I
home
haven't.
from space?
Oh, dude.
God
With this
damn it.
free
Oh
satellite
yeah, you
Earth
gotta
map
send me.
tool,
You gotta send
can
me the
zoom
YouTube
right
links.
down
I
to
have
your
the YouTube
exact
Premium,
address
Joe.
in just
Joe!
seconds.
Yeah.
Midterms and
Yeah.
It's been
Let's
it's been
redo it.
years since I've seen a YouTube ad. It's been years since I've seen a YouTube ad, Joe. Okay. Okay, wait. I had the next video queued. Okay, on my end. All right. So. Okay. So do we know when do we roughly know when the Hasan part comes up?
I don't.
Okay.
But I was about a quarter of the way through.
Wait, let's see if Hasan Piker's face. I'm scrubbing. Okay, wait. Oh wait, I've scrubbed until I saw Hasan Piker's face on
Okay.
the Jake Tapper video. So okay, pull that up.
Oh. There we go.
So, okay, yeah. So
smaller than the similarities that we share. A responsibility to stand up to down.
Okay, so
Mike Rogers, your Republican opponent, is trying to talk to those voters. What kind of work do you have to do to unify Democrats behind you in Michigan?
Yeah, it was a hotly contested primary, and we aired our differences. But in the end, the voters in the Democratic Party in the state of Michigan voted, and they picked a future where we get money out of politics, put money in your pocket, pass Medicare for all. But the differences that we hashed out are so much smaller than the similarities that we share. A responsibility to stand up to Donald Trump and the ways that he's used his power for his own gain, for his family's finances, rather than to improve your family's finances. The recognition that Mike Rogers is nothing more than a corporate shill. He's never seen a corporate PAC check he didn't want. Helped to architect the opioid epidemic back when I was in high school. Voted 19 times to raise prescription drug prices, moved to Florida, made $14 million he doesn't really want to explain. So this is a guy who has no business.
What can I say? There's no notes. It's perfect from start to finish.
In the U.S. Senate, and all of us agree. So you're saying folks come together and say, listen, despite the fact that we...
Like, the fact that Jake Tapper is giving a non-contentious interview to a Muslim man. I mean, come on. A Muslim man who has, not only a lot of anti-Israel affiliations like myself. Jake Tapper advises me. It's not a secret.
Anti-Israel, anti-Semitic. So why are so many Democrats doing campaign events with him? We're going to explore that very question next.
Jake Tapper just straight up unconditionally called me anti-Semitic. You're a piece of shit, Jake Tapper. He mentions it as many times as he can throughout the day. And also on top of that, like Abdul himself has been very critical of Israel to a degree that Jake Tapper certainly doesn't like. The fact that he's just sitting there and offering a non-contentious interview is oof.
Hashed out our differences in that long, hard-fought primary. This is the opportunity right now to unite around what needs to be done. And that's holding the Trump administration accountable rather than sending a guy who's going to be a rubber stamp on everything that Trump wants to continue to do that's making life less affordable for Michiganders and life harder for the rest of us, for all of us.
One of your former Democratic opponents, state legislator Mallory McMorrow, supports you, endorsed you right out of the gate, but she says she told you that in her view, you need to improve on, quote, being able to recognize that there are good people who just have a slightly different worldview. It's not turning everybody into an enemy, unquote. It was a similar criticism to what we heard from New York Times columnist Michelle Goldberg, who wrote...
Here we go. Wind it up again. Jake. Oh, yeah. Don't you feel like you're a little too aggressive as a Muslim man? Don't you feel like you're a little too aggressive as a Muslim man? Don't you feel like that's a little scary? Why are you doing Islamic Jihad, Abdul Rahman Muhammad al-Sayed? Why are you doing Islamic Jihad? Why is jihad on your mind when you wake up every day? I mean, that's what it is. Not to get all woke 1.0, but it's 100% microaggression.
When did you stop doing Islamic Jihad?
Just tweaking the dial a little bit, tweaking it in that direction. But hey, guess what? From one Muslim American to another, you got to eat it. Let's see what he says. You got to eat it. You got to eat it every time.
That you have, quote, a blind spot, one endemic to his movement, an inability to grasp how and why people of good faith might see the world differently, unquote. How do you respond to those criticisms?
No, I understand that we might see the world differently, but we also recognize the responsibility to come together. I was grateful for the conversation I got to share with Senator McMorrow, and also grateful for the conversation I got to share with the New York Times columnist. We have an opportunity right now.
She has a name, Abdul. It's Michelle Goldberg. Is it because she's Jewish that you said the New York Times columnist? Got him. cancel him now.
To recognize that whatever differences we might have less to do with a moral bankruptcy and a lot more to do with differences in perspective. But what I'll tell you is this: when you look at what Donald Trump is doing, when you look at what Mike Rogers wants to do and has done when he was in Congress, there are big moral questions to.
Yeah. So I mean, I think he's great. I think, you know, but yeah, it is. But isn't it something like Fox News does, like, what is it, like 5 hit pieces on Hasan daily now, something like that, right?
It is nuts. Sean Hannity is like really on one. Joe Walsh, no, not Joe Walsh. Joe Scarborough is gonna fucking burst a blood vessel on air. That dude is so mad at his son. he was just screaming the other day, and like honestly, at this point, like Hasan is well within his rights to sue for slander or libel, whatever you call it in this
You think
case.
he will?
I don't know. Like just before we started today, he was actually saying like, yeah, I don't know. I think I might like talk to a lawyer, just see what my options
should.
are. Because yeah, it is fucking outrageous at this point. Like it is, you know, this is the US.
Oh, wait, I might have seen that stream. Was it when they were like, they clipped something he said to make it sound like he was pro lynching? Right? Like they deliberately cut, and it was just like him reading it. He pulled up the original clip and he's reading a comment that somebody in his chat had wrote. Right. And they were like using that, like, oh yeah, I think I had that on earlier.
And he's saying, you know, some like sarcastic things like, yeah, dude, you got me. That's what I want. You know, it's like, it's unbelievable. Like this is the US fucking corporate news media. Like we're
it's
so
incredible.
Like they've always been dishonest and full of shit and propagandistic, but it's getting to a point that's like, again, they're trying to get him killed or just completely discredited, and they'll do anything to make that happen. And it's not the whole equation, but a lot of it is coming from fucking Israel lobby.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy, but yeah, it is funny. I mean, you know, and they all just want to focus on Hasan because they know, right, that if they actually focus on a single relevant issue to the American people, they lose. If they focus on income inequality, if they focus on whether or not we should build data centers, if they focus on, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, whatever they, you know, it's just the left has the right position on all of these issues. We need to be taxing billionaires more. We need to, you know what I'm saying, we need to severely limit, you know, and regulate AI. You know, we need to, you know, we really need real fucking parameters about like what jobs AI is allowed to do, what function AI serves in our society, you know, and actually, wait, pull up that comment.
What do we got?
Pull up the comment. No. The most recent one right there. AI viewers, streamblue.com, baby. Yo, dude, I said AI 3 times and I got, I summoned the
it's
bot.
like Beetlejuice.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when you're like talking about, oh, we should order Popeyes for dinner, and then all of a sudden you get a Popeyes ad, right? Jesus. Anyway, okay, you can tuck that away.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like it's literally like, okay, well, who's funding like MS Now and Fox News and shit? It's the companies building data centers, or like, you know, contractors involved in the construction or whatever it is. And you know, big ag advertising food and shit, like watch the ads. It's going to be for health insurance, like all this shit. They're just owned by corporate interests, and that's who they function for. And it's gotten to such an absurd level, you know, like you can go back 35 fucking years and like Bill Hicks is like doing bits about this shit, and it's the same thing, but it's gotten so bad. It has just degenerated into really like just a super just everything's for babies. I'm like, talk to me like I'm an adult. Yeah, he's freaking out.
Oh, little baby. Don't freak out. It's just a podcast. We're just doing a podcast, little guy.
I think he wants to leave the room. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Come here.
Yeah, I think it's funny. I think that like a lot of people are waking up to it too. I think that a lot of people are getting smarter. I think that's why, right? Like, we didn't even talk about Peggy Flanagan, who just won after getting won with Bernie's endorsement, right? Won in a landslide.
Yep.
An actual progressive that actually won in a landslide with Bernie's endorsement. Where is that Minnesota?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you know what I'm saying? That nobody, of course, fucking mainstream doesn't want to talk about that because
Right.
it doesn't fit their fucking narrative, right?
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people, that's why you're seeing that, like, Abdul still won after being outspent 11-1, right? Where you're seeing, like, and there's rumors that Elon Musk is going to try to campaign with Susan Collins, or at least super fund her campaign, right? And and I think and I feel like if that becomes the narrative, I feel like that's just going to hurt her. It's just these people who have a lot of money, right? They don't understand how unpopular they are, and I think that there's so much that you can accomplish with your $80 million. Right. But I think that, it's just a lot of people are seeing what's happening, and they're seeing like, oh, these rich people really don't want these people who are saying they're going to make our lives better to get in power. And to me, that tells me that, like, they're doing something right. I need to make sure I show up and support them, and I think that is a good thing. Now, I mean, here's the thing. I also think that, right, I'm also not stupid, right? I don't think AIPAC spends 80 million to try and win an election and then is just like, I guess it didn't work. I guess
Website.
You know what I'm saying? I think we're gonna, there's gonna be some twists. I think there's gonna be some narrative twists happening down the road, and who knows what form, right? But but I do think that I think that how bald-faced corporate media is being, how bald-faced the elite is being about how much they don't want these people to be winning these elections, right? I think that it is making a whole bunch of people a lot smarter. I mean, people are still, there's still plenty of stupid people, as we're seeing, right? But I think that it is a positive trend, and a lot of people who I think were a lot more people that I've seen be very vocal, kind of shit libs in maybe 5 or 10 years ago. I watched this person be just a giant shit lip, right? I've seen them radicalized in a very, very people that I used to see go on anti-Bernie tangents, or what they did to Francesca Hong was disgusting. Just the fucking anybody with a brain knows that, you know what I'm saying? And
right.
Or, the complete, Islamophobia I am seeing coming out of Michigan, and it's you know what I'm saying? I've seen enough people that 10 years ago were Bernie bros cost Hillary the election, it is encouraging. It's encouraging,
Right. And that's, I was really disappointed when some of the people I was listening to during the Bernie 2016 era, Jimmy Dore, Breonna Joy Gray, even Chapo has gotten real nihilist, and it's it was just disappointing to see how some of these people just got stuck because they were so mad that it didn't work out, and instead of seeing that this is just the beginning, guys, give it a, it's going to be a long hard road, but it's their politics didn't evolve, and they didn't learn, like, you know, historical materialism and the progression of class struggle and how it looks and how messy it can be. But it's like, yeah, I always think about, like, the like activism and the big moments of upheaval that have happened in our lifetimes. Starting with, like, the anti-Iraq war movement, which was the first, like, real, political awakening, I think, that happened in sort of the like post-Soviet, like post, like, after the sort of like, hey man, everything's great in the 90s shit that was happening. That's when, like, not like 9/11 wasn't that, because I think it was more like jingoistic and people were like, yeah, fucking kill them, like, but when people really saw that, like, yeah, like when people saw in, like,
I had a conservative family. I completely.
Oh,
it was
yeah,
just,
no, I'm
yeah.
sure.
My grandfather's like, if you see a thing, like literally, like my grandfather. I remember driving my grandfather, and he was just like, listen, if you see a truck full of Muslims, you're driving. When you start driving and you see a truck full of Muslims, you lean out the window and you say, are you Sunni or Shiite? And if they say Shiite, you run them off the road. Like, fucking,
Surprised you
like,
knew the difference.
yeah,
But,
like,
yeah, dude,
he
even
was
my
not a dumb
parents,
guy.
yeah,
He was
my
a dumb
parents are,
he's a dumb asshole, but he's not a dumb guy.
yeah, my parents were hardcore Democrats, and they were saying some of the same,
Yeah, exactly.
but like,
Because that's
but
how
yeah,
we ingrained. I mean, and we saw it with Haley Stevens's campaign, right? Like,
right,
like
but
even like these, there's just white people gonna white people,
right. But yeah, but you get to 2002, 2003, and people are seeing that, like, oh, we're being blatantly lied to so that they can start these fucking wars for oil. And that was, at the time, I think, the largest protest in history, like, in, or anti-war protest, it was, whatever it was. And that was huge. And, it's easy to look back on that and be like, that didn't do nothing. The war still happened, and there was no, like, major, like, movement formed after that. But it's like, okay, but then what happened, roughly
I
a
mean,
decade
part
later?
of why I think Trump won, right, was because he shat on the Iraq War, right, and
Yeah.
he held Hillary's feet to the flame, you
Right.
know.
Right.
You
But
know what
I'm
I'm saying?
saying, like,
That was a point of contention between the two of them,
yeah, but I'm
and
saying,
he
like,
was on the right side of it.
yeah, but I'm saying the way that, like, leftist politics has progressed, because you had then Occupy Wall Street, which was kind of all over the place. I don't know if it was, like, leftist, but there was a lot of, like, anarchist thought and stuff happening there.
I was actually working at a Starbucks like a block from there,
Oh,
and
really?
I did walk by there and, like, kind of walk through it one day, and I was like, this is interesting. And then
Yeah.
I wasn't as politically awakened as I am now.
Right. But, like, then you had that, and then that got, broken up and everything. And then people went, oh, yeah, Occupy did nothing. Like, okay. But then a couple of years later, you have the first wave of the Black Lives Matter movement. That was some radical fucking shit. And, that's when, like, police brutality was really starting to come to the forefront. And, again, did that go anywhere? But then you have the
I mean, I
2020
think it's
Black
all
Lives
part of the
Matter.
same narrative, right? Like, what do
Yeah,
they say? Like, the arc
but
of history bends towards justice,
right.
right? So that's
But
the
even
saying.
so, but, like, in addition to, like, these things happening more and, like, more frequently, it is evolving. They are maturing with each one. Like, again, the Iraq War protests were just scattered. The Occupy Wall Street was much more organized, but they were like, oh, we don't need leaders, man. We don't need demands. And then, like,
Yeah,
okay, nothing happened.
we're
But
just
then, like,
gonna be. We need
yeah,
to
but
just
then,
be
like,
people, dog.
Black Lives Matter started to have some demands. It was, it was not, like, quite the same as, like, the Black Panthers or something, but, like, they had, like, a
Yeah.
list of demands. And then you get to, like, the pro-Palestine protests post October 7th, and they were, like, fucking on the ball. They had media liaisons. They were like, don't talk to the press and just like out everything. You know, we're going to have people designated, and they just built it up. Like, you know, they were protecting the inner core of it. And they were really like pissing off, you know, major powerful entities and revealing the brutality of the state under both parties. And now we have fucking socialists winning elections all over the country. So it's like, yeah, I have I try not to get into like a doomer mindset, because things suck. Like there's a lot of bad happening, but like we are continuously moving forward, and we are learning, and we're getting better. And you know, hopefully we can play a role in that in our little media corner here.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, and I do think that, you know, I mean, I also was very sad after 2016, you know, and especially the Bernie, the primary, you know, in 2020. I mean, there was like, you know, like a week and a half, 2 weeks where it really felt like Bernie was like the legitimate front runner, and it felt really good. And then all of a sudden, fucking Biden won Georgia, and it all just went to hell, right? You know, and you know, and that was defeating, right? And you know, and I understand. So anybody who did get, did feel defeated, you know, and did kind of get this doomer mindset, right? You know, but, you know, I wish I could go back and tell them, it's like, you'll have a moment. Things just need to get way worse. Things need to get so much worse, you know? You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know, I mean, anyway, listen, we could hammer that home all day. Let's end the stream off with something fun. Can we watch something fun?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Wait, am I sharing my screen? Is my screen being shared?
I don't see it yet.
Are you sure?
There we go. Okay.
There we go. So, do you like the Strokes, Joe?
I am very out of touch with the Strokes. I think I've heard like a couple of songs, but yeah, I never
heard
like
like
went
last
down that.
night she said no, 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 right?
I think so. Yeah.
So, the Strokes just had a new album. I like the album. Other people don't. Some people have accused it of using too much auto-tune. I understand that criticism. My own brother, because my brothers were like, because I have a group chat. I'm the oldest of 7 children, and there's a group chat with all of the brothers in it. All 6 of the bros, all 6 of the Drew boys are in a group chat together. It gets very hectic, very, very, very. We say some things that would get us canceled, and all the time we're making just really pitch black jokes. But the subject of the Strokes album came up, and there was a divide, because I was like, I think it's great, I think it rules, and my brother's like, too much AI, or not AI, sorry, too much auto tune. You know, and I was like, what? Who cares? It's like, that's a skill issue, bro. It's just, I listen to fucking Kanye West, bro. You know, not as much as I used to, but historically, I've listened to a lot of Kanye West, and you know, so I've had that, you know, I've had that muscle worked out quite a bit. So anyway, and I think you're going to get a bit of a history here, but on the new Strokes album, he legitimately has a line dissing Anthony Fantano. He calls Fantano out by name and talks mad shit on a song about him. And I think a lot of it stems is that so Julian Casablancas, who is the lead singer of the Strokes, also has a side project called The Voids, I think it is, with it's VOIDZ. It's The Voids with a Z, right? And he used AI art for his last album cover for The Voids.
Oh, that sucks.
And Fantano was pretty much the loudest voice. I didn't see anybody else notable calling him out, but Fantano called him out, right? And then gave the album a terrible review as well. And so Julian did an interview, I believe earlier this year or last year or some shit, talking shit about Fantano, and then song comes out dissing Fantano again right here. So we're going to watch 2 videos of Fantano's. Okay. We're going to do initially his response initially, right? And then I believe it was earlier today or yesterday, one of the two, very recent video. There's been an update in the Strokes Fantano beef. And we're going to watch that as well. We're going to watch the update video, which I started watching and I was like, you know what? I want to live react to that on stream.
Yeah.
And I stopped it.
Hi, everyone. Big Finny named Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. And yeah, we got to talk about this. I have once again been immortalized against my will in the lyrics of the brand new Strokes album, Reality Awaits, on the track specifically Lonely in the Future. Now, I want to let it be known before I say what I'm going to say here. I've not heard this song yet. I've not heard the Strokes album outside of the singles. I don't need to because this video is not a review of the song or me assessing the quality of this record and its music in any way. This is more me talking about...
Fun fact, after this video came out, he did a review of the Strokes album, fucking shredded it. I think it got like a 3, like a 2 or a 3. It was very bad. It was a very bad score.
The lyric Where I Come Up, which is posted on platforms like Genius, and the mention of me is actually confirmed by Rolling Stone in their coverage of this record too, so it is real, it is a thing. So let's start getting into this by reading the lyric itself. Julian says, I heard that 20 effing years ago I did, Fantano word for word when I was a kid, stick to the technical, because that's great, but you would not recognize art in any age. Okay, so essentially Julian's insult or assessment of me is that I lack the ability to recognize art, and describing art only in sort of like a technical fashion is the only thing I'm really good for as a critic and commentator. Now, for greater context here, just in case you are not really in the know, these sentiments and opinions, Julian has more or less expressed before, not too long ago, on a recent podcast hosted by none other than Joe Talbot of Idols fame, where, again, he said exactly that. Austin, I'm sure, will present the clip here.
Anthony Fantano's.
Oh my God, how dare you?
How do I what? Are you being protective of your brother?
Oh, hell no. He's not my fucking brother. He should stick to, you know what he should stick to? He should stick to like analysis when he's like methodically and scientifically describing things. He does a good like job of like, he used this studio and did this. And so he's good at that. When it comes to like art taste, he's like trash and knows nothing and wouldn't know. And he like reviews old albums to sound like he knows what he's talking about, which is like.
And here's the thing. I don't disagree with this statement.
Okay.
I love Fantano. I follow like every Fantano channel. I love his analysis of things. I think, and he's also got good politics for the most part. I think he's pretty leftist. He's pretty big about calling out Israel and shit, right? He's and actually gave the Strokes props because the Strokes and Julian Casablancas like have been very much on an anti-Zionism kick, right? Like because they just did I think it was Coachella, and they had like something behind them at Coachella that was like talking about like the victims of Gaza and stuff. And then Julian Casablancas did like Subway takes, and his Subway takes is like, just Zionists, just American Zionists, like just annoy the shit out of me. Like they're like, like they're so desperate to be fucking victims, like they just like self-victimize, and it's so blatant and apparent, and so he's cool. He is cool, and Fantano did give him props for that, but it's clear. I do think that part of my beef with Fantano, right, is that back when Mac Miller was alive, the dude could not get a good review out of Fantano. And then literally like the moment Mac Miller died, Fantano went and re-reviewed all of his albums and like gave a lot of them like much better scores. Like, and it's just like, you don't get to fucking do that, you piece of shit, and I've never forgiven him for that. Also, he didn't like the last two Brockhampton albums, which is wrong. Anyway.
Wow. Like review an old Lou Reed record and say it's cool. That'll give you cred.
And look, at the time I addressed Julian saying this on this YouTube channel, and being offhandedly mentioned by somebody in a long podcast interview is whatever, it happens, but literally being mentioned by name on your new album, which is being printed physically to CD and vinyl and being released into the world, and people are going to pay money for this media and stream it on Spotify and Apple Music and so on and so forth, that's a little bit different. Now, of course, this is not the first time I have been mentioned on an artist's song. It has happened in the past, be it on records from Brockhampton or even Post Malone, who had a funny moment mentioning my name at the end of Beer Bongs and Bentleys. But this is quite a bit different. Not even funny or silly or tongue-in-cheek in any way whatsoever, really just a bitter diss. And one that I find very funny because it's one of the few beefs I have going on in the music industry, though I really don't. This is not a beef. If anything, it's one-sided at best. It's so funny that Julian has mentioned me in numerous contexts on social media and in conversation in a public fashion, but almost every time, so many in his audience kind of come away from it scratching their heads because they can so plainly see that, like, I am a fan of The Strokes. I am a fan of Julian's work. The Strokes are easily one of my favorite bands of the 2000s, and anytime I have been critical of Julian's or The Strokes' work, it's come from the place of a fan quite clearly. Like, I'm not out here to actively bully Julian and the band. If anything, I would say I'm a little bit of an apologist, especially given a lot of the glowing coverage I've given to the Voids over the years too. That is except for the latest Voids album, which I've said before, and I will say it again, I feel like is kind of the crux of, you know, Julian's issue with me. Not only was I quite harsh on the music on that record because, I don't know, to my ears, it felt very low quality and demo quality compared to everything the Voids had done up until that point, but I was one among many who was also kind of disappointed to find that the cover art for that album, I guess, had been AI generated. Like, very ironic to be making the claim that I can't recognize art when I see it, when you clearly think nothing of presenting your music with AI art. It's a silly and confusing situation for sure, and part of my reason for wanting to make this video is to come on here and communicate you guys that this is all as weird to me as it is to you, and despite this kind of pithy...
The AI thing is fair. The AI thing, it's like you deserve it. You are a guy who's been famous forever. You're famous enough to be featured on a Lonely Island song. You know, like that's how you know you've made it as a musician.
Yeah.
Right. Find yourself in a Lonely Island song. You have the money to pay a graphic designer, you know, or just like take a cool picture, find a baby picture of you and have that be, you know what I'm saying? Like,
or learn how to, like, you can take a fucking course online to learn how to animate, like, you know, how to draw or animate or something like that. There's kind of no excuse.
There's no excuse. Yeah. No excuse for, you know, and I do agree though. I do believe that that the AI thing was cringy, but I think his Zionism take is based as fuck and more than makes up for it in my opinion. But anyway, but I do, Fantano did rightfully cook him for that.
Comment and mention, my hope is to go into this new Strokes album with an open mind and with hopes to enjoy it, even though I haven't really liked the teasers due to their overuse of autotune, which again is a feeling and a perspective that has been shared by a lot of Strokes fans. Given Julian's singling out of me, I do think it is important to remind people that it's not like my opinions on the Strokes up until this point have been so far and away outside of the norm among their fan base. The last thing I would like to say though is I know in the past people have been angry at me or have been upset at me when I have stood 10 toes down for my reviews, for my content, for the legacy I built up until this point, having done this for 20 years now, because the Needle Drop started as a podcast back in 2007. Because of all that time put in, all of that effort put in, all of the growth that I've seen since those early days of the Needle Drop brand, yeah, it's upsetting and personally disheartening to me when I am confronted with these, frankly, bunk assessments of me and what I do. And I'm sorry, but in this case, while everyone is free to disagree with my opinions and think I'm wrong or that I am, you know, completely clueless when it comes to certain records or certain genres, the claim that I completely lack the ability to assess or recognize art is just patently untrue, especially from somebody of Julian's position, because what was I doing with every positive review I've given to you or the Strokes over the years? What was I doing when I was giving bands like Geese positive coverage long before most people even knew about them, before even Julian knew about them, I presume, because I had reviewed them years before he decided to post them up on Instagram. And even in the case of the podcast of the man that he appeared on, Joe from Idols, my reviews covering their work are some of the most popular videos about the band when it comes to any sort of commentary on the YouTube platform, on the internet. I was going pretty hard for Idols much earlier than a lot of people were back when they dropped their Brutalism album, and it's been really cool to watch the band grow and evolve since then. Of course, this is not me coming on to say like, I made these artists popular and they owe their success to me. That's not my argument. Here's my argument. I have a history of being an early adopter of a lot of different musical movements and a lot of artists who have gone on to do really cool and great things, artists who have gone on to be widely admired by other artists in their respective genres and scenes. I loved these artists and their work and supported various album cycles from them, not because anybody told me to like them or anybody explained to me, you know, behind the scenes that they were really cool and, you know, helped me get it. I heard their music, I saw what they were doing from a distance, and I made that assessment on my own. I've been doing it for over 10 years now, and I'm still doing it today. The band Earth Tongue just posted to Instagram due to my glowing review of their new LP that they've sold out of physical vinyl copies of their new record, and that you can only buy them right now until they repress more on their tour in person, which I recommend you go see them. That is before Julian Casablancas finds out about them and starts getting into them himself, and then posts about them and shits on me at the same time on Instagram. I'll close this video out by saying this, regardless of how good this new Strokes album is, when I and you hear the entire thing, the band has guaranteed themselves at least one sale, because, I mean, my name is in that shit. I gotta buy it. How am I gonna sit here and not own a physical copy of the one Strokes album that has my name on it? In fact, I'm gonna order that thing right now as soon as this video is over. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think about all of this nastiness in the comments. I'm sure you will.
I would do the same.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But okay, so then so one day ago, what the fuck?
Literally for you. I had this person read.
So I watched the first half and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna save this for stream. So he puts out that video, right? A week goes by, or some time goes by, and you think it's just gonna fade into the background, right? And then he puts out this video. There is a development. There's a development. The Strokes have been working in the background, and this I thought was hilarious.
Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's most excited music nerd. I hope you're doing well. I'm a little stressed right now, mostly because I have to once again talk about a topic that I'm a little tired of at this point, and that's the Strokes. Specifically, a lyric on their latest record, Reality Awaits, where I am mentioned by name, where I'm being dissed, as everybody has been saying, including myself. Yeah, I'm talking about it again, but I promise you, it's for reasons that are actually pretty important. And look, without belaboring any points I've already made on all of this or rehashing anything that I've said, let me just state plainly and clearly right here. Everything that has happened up until this point between me and Julian and the Strokes and whatever, while sure, it has been a little petty, a little bitter, a little whatever, up till now, in my view, it's all been mostly fine or fair game. Like, do I personally prefer to be on the bad side of one of my favorite bands of all time in college and even today? No, of course not. That's not where I prefer to be, but I'm not going to pretend to like things that I don't or pretend to not have opinions that I do just to get along with artists whose work I review on a regular basis. So again, everything that's publicly been happening around all of this thus far, I don't really take all that much issue with. Criticizing and being criticized just kind of comes with the territory of what I do. I've come to accept that. But the information that I've recently gotten a hold of, I feel like is actually crossing a line, because the topic we're launching into here has to do with an issue that we have been calling out for a minute on this channel, and that is the tendency for artists and labels and PR firms to reach out to content creators on the internet of all types and stripes and essentially pay for positive PR, pay for undisclosed promotion, or even in the case of our recent video around Lily Allen, narrative control. Would you be surprised to find that the Strokes are engaged in this kind of behavior too? Because I've just gotten a hold of some new communications which were sent to a music influencer and commentator who I will not name, but this person has tens of thousands of followers across multiple different platforms. Not a super small or obscure creator by any means. In addition to this, I presume this is not the only person who was reached out to. And this person was approached to not only make a video about the new Strokes album, but specifically the lyric on the album about me. The Strokes recently released their new album, and the song Lonely in the Future included a diss on music reviewer Anthony Fantano. Would love to get a video discussing the situation and would love to hear your honest thoughts on it. Content.
Jesus.
I want to know who this person is. I'm sure people have dug. I'm pretty sure if I do some digging, I'm pretty sure we could figure it out. But
I would do it.
Here's the thing, right? I think that they understand, right, that probably, right, when Fantano did I think that when Fantano did the video, right, and it's kind of like the Hasan thing, right? It's like the it's the controversy makes it something you have to check out, right? It's just like the same way that conservatives spent the last 9 months railing against the Odyssey, right? And then the Odyssey finally drops, and it's the biggest movie in the world until Spider-Man comes out and becomes even bigger, right? But I think it's just you make it like I have to see, I have to hear. They dissed Anthony Fantano. I need to hear. I mean, it's why do you follow the band Clips at all? Are you into hip hop at all?
I mean, I'm fine with it, but I don't think I'm familiar with
do you know
them.
who Clips is?
No.
Do you know who? So Clips, okay. So Pusha T has this habit. It's just if he's about to drop an album, he disses somebody, right?
Right.
The latest so he has a rap group with his brother, and they call themselves Clips, and they released their comeback album. They hadn't released an album in 15 years, and last year they released my favorite album of last year. It was a masterpiece. On that album though, one of the earliest songs they dropped was very much a diss aimed at Travis Scott. And
Okay.
they and they really went hard at Travis fucking Scott. And then did an interview, and then literally within 24 hours of that song dropping, they had an interview queued up where they were just hardcore dissing Travis Scott, and it was very funny. It was very funny, the timing, right? But I mean, it worked. It helped sell them, and it helped, and it was part of their album rollout, right? And I think that they understand.
It's like Kanye with the Jews.
Or Kanye and George Bush, or Kanye and Taylor Swift, or Kanye and it's like, I got an album coming out, I need to ruffle some feathers. It is you build a controversy around your shit, right? And anyway, so I thought that was very funny. But yeah, so I want to see the rest of this video.
The situation, and would love to hear your honest thoughts on it. Content to include here, and that link actually goes to my video on the topic on this channel. And to add insult to injury, they offered this person $500, an offer that I matched and bested by putting $100 more on top of it for the opportunity to come on here and share this email with you. Because fuck if somebody's going to astroturf public sentiment against me for under $1,000. Julian, I think dissing me is worth at least $1,000. Come on, man. Just in case this email ask here is worded maybe a little bit too neutrally for you, I had this person reach back out to the Strokes and their PR to see exactly what they wanted out of this video, after of course sending a paragraph of his read on the whole situation. That's fine, just need to make sure there is zero bias toward Fantano and zero bad things said about the Strokes. Needs to be showing both sides and leave opinion open-ended to the viewer. Open-ended to the viewer, but Strokes bias is fine, and negative things about Fantano I guess are fine, but negative things about the Strokes are a no-no. But yeah, now that that's out of the way, let me say this. What the fuck? I told somebody in my personal circles about this, and they dubbed this whole situation hipster Watergate, which they might be correct. Like, imagine if Lou Reed or Sonic Youth had to pay journalists behind the scenes to, sort of like echo their sentiments about Robert Christgau or something. And for anybody going into this like skeptical or thinking I'm making something out of nothing because of course it's me and you hate my fucking guts, if tactics like this actually work and turn the tide of public opinion against me, I'm not going to be the only guy this happens to. Any and every commentator on the internet who says anything negative about a relevant band or artist or song will be targeted in the same exact way by some other BS boutique short form PR agency who will bury that person for daring to speak critically of a song or an album that was mid.
Listen, Fantano hitting us with the, if it happened to me, it can happen to you. They're trying to get to you. I'm just standing in their way.
Yeah, man. The Strokes are after me.
Yeah, man, that's okay. So we got to come on. Let's just finish. Let's take it home, and then I'll let you take a nap. Okay.
Or embarrassing. And the last thing I'll say that makes this whole thing even more concerning is that this is actively happening in light of music journalism dying before our eyes, with multiple legacy platforms and websites being completely hollowed out, multiple layoffs, news coverage and coverage of up-and-coming artists basically being flushed down the toilet. And again, if you don't like me, and you don't have to like me, I'm sure there are at least a few music commentators on the internet that you do like, who maybe have much smaller platforms in comparison, and maybe wouldn't be able to withstand such a campaign were it mounted against them. And while historically my platform has been able to withstand all sorts of heat and all sorts of blowback, so long as this sort of thing remains a growing industry practice, smaller creators are not safe at all, because the moment you say anything negative that gains traction about a relevant artist with a PR budget, they're going to pay one of these companies. YTK is the name of this one, just so you know. You guys are really doing a bang up job over at YTK. Yeah, the moment any of that happens, one of these platforms will have 3, 4, 5, 6 short form randos talking shit about you in an onslaught of videos to manufacture disagreement against what you're saying. But that's like the future of PR and media, I guess. To be clear here, for additional context, YTK is a legitimate company that works in the short form PR promo space, works with quite a few other labels and major label artists. I can't exactly tell whether or not these requests, these asks, are coming directly from the Strokes, their PR, or their label, a mix of all three. Whatever the scenario, it is being done on their behalf and in their name, and is not a good or excusable practice in any scenario. People who I've been working with have reached out to the Strokes and their team for comment on this, and if they had anything of note to say, we will include that commentary here. Okay, so we did get an official response on this from a representative for the Strokes. What we have been told is that the band and Julian and the cult label did not know about this and did not hire YTK Media, which is a little confusing, obviously, because the emails and the asks and the offer here is a real thing and do exist. So, like, is YTK Media out here just kind of representing the Strokes' interests for the love of the game? I don't really know. Is there some other secret third party in all of this operating behind the scenes that put in this ask, this request? I'm not sure. Until there are any further confirmations or revelations on all of this, of course, all of this remains to be an allegation. A very curious one with some odd evidence behind it, but still an allegation all the same. But yeah, without anything else to go on as of right now, that's kind of all I can say, I suppose. Well, there you have it. Please let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments. That would be great. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up. Or
so yeah, so
that's very weird. Do you think they're just lying? Like,
oh yes, 100%. Yes, 100% a lie. Not even. Yeah. No shot. It's not a lie. It is 100% a lie.
That's I've never been very familiar with Fantano, but he's always got something going on. There's always some
There's always some Fantano
controversy
drama,
or
dude.
yeah.
Oh, you know that like Fantano saw that, right? He got that email or got that DM and he was rock hard. He is like, that is content.
Content,
That is
yeah.
content that just the Fantano Strokes beef heats up. He loves the fact that he was name dropped on a Strokes album. He
Oh yeah,
loves the fact.
dude,
He
that would
loves
be very funny. I'm trying to think of who like if Aerosmith fucking dissed me on on a new song, like sure, man.
you know.
I think Steven Tyler's a Republican. That could-
Maybe. I mean, he's rich. He's an old rich white guy.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so it's just statistically he is,
Yeah.
you know, even if he says cool woke shit publicly, he's
Right.
probably privately, you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah, I was at the same Aerosmith concert as Donald Trump in this must have been like 2012.
No way.
Yeah. He was in the front row. At one point they put him on the fucking Jumbotron and Steven Tyler's going like, "Thanks for being here, Donald," whatever the fuck.
You're gonna really ruin
very
shit for
weird.
all of us in about
Yeah.
about a decade and a half. It's gonna be
Yeah.
I mean, really in about 4 years, honestly.
Yeah,
But
Jesus.
even worse,
And
you're gonna get back in there and really fuck it up, you know?
Yeah. And the first time I saw Aerosmith a couple of times at least. The first time I saw them was 2010, and Steven Tyler is like, you ever see him do that thing where he picks up like the entire mic stand, like, and just fucking
I mean,
carries
yeah, a
it
lot
around?
of people
Like,
do it.
yeah.
Actually, I just watched the most recent Rory Scovel special, and he did that like the whole
Oh
time.
yeah.
Yeah, just picking up the mic stand and just talking
Yeah.
with the
I
mic
did-
stand, just
Yeah, yeah.
that is a flex. That is a cool flex.
Yeah, but he's a fucking nut, and he was like swinging it around at one point, and he smacks Joe Perry in the head, and Joe Perry has to go like get bandaged up, and then this was like the greatest fucking song transition I've ever seen. Steven Tyler goes, shit happens. I'm sorry about that, Joe, but ladies and gentlemen, shit happens. And if you don't believe that, then dream on. And then they started playing Dream On.
That's awesome.
That's just all right. Just right on with the show.
Actually,
yeah.
Speaking of Clips and Fantano, I actually was at the Clips show in Boston. I'm actually coming up on a year. Actually, I think we might be past a year, or roughly it was a year ago, like real close to this date, last August. And Fantano was walking around the Clip show. He was in the audience for the Clip show, and at first one of my brothers clocked him and was like, "Hey, Fantano's here," and I was like, "No, he's not." And he's like, "Yeah." And then I did clock him, and then I took a creepy amount of pictures, like a legitimately creepy amount of pictures of Fantano that are in my phone that I could share with you. I could send them to you if I wanted to. But yeah, I took I spent more time. My brothers were like, "You spent more time looking at Fantano than you did at Pusha T," which is probably true. He also had a very hot woman with him, so good for Fantano.
Hey, well, yeah, I have for a long time wanted to like incorporate music into my my political content more, or just do it separately or something. I just haven't figured out the best way to do it. Like you'll find some some songs, some top 5 like leftist bands or whatever on my YouTube channel, but yeah, I just haven't quite figured out like how that fits into my overall mission. But
I don't know. Maybe look at it. Is there anybody else who do any other political people who do music? Wait, doesn't Tim Pool, right? Doesn't he have a band, but his band is just the name of his podcast?
Oh yeah, Timcast or whatever.
It's just
yeah. There's a great
not like that.
Yeah, there's a great like novelty like political pop punk band called Hummus Vacuum. They're pretty good. But they're just like, yeah, they're just like purely they make music. So I don't know. I don't know. Like maybe I should just have a separate channel for my music or something. Because I do feel like it
Like, would you want
tends
to do it
to
like funny wise, or would you want to do it like
well,
serious music? Because I know you've done like serious songs, right? Like the song
yeah.
"Is Your Hate Pure," right? I've heard that a couple
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean I think I do kind of a mix at this point with a lot of stuff. Um, you know, I have like a pop punk song called "I Want to Be a Communist," and it's just like it's just like it's like silly. Like there's like a sense of humor to it, but it's not like a comedy song. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I just get the sense like a lot of them kind of flop on my channel. So it's like I don't know if people like
Because I
who
mean,
are
like the
watching me.
algorithm, because your channel's algorithm is news, so
Right.
it's just politics and that kind of shit, right? So if you're
Yeah.
putting out a song, it's just the algorithm doesn't know what to do with it because it's like, no, this is politics. We throw this in the politics, and so yeah, I mean, yeah, and I think I mean, you might need to do a separate channel, unless you can incorporate it, figure out some way to incorporate it in the videos, right? Like if you
Yeah.
do one of your long form videos, you do maybe each one of those gets a song, and then you can put that out separately as its own thing. That's more of like a bonus
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, there's a YouTuber, Danny Gonzalez, who's like, he's like a react like,
He's the
this
one that's
movie is
friends
weird.
with
Like,
Drew Gooden, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they're
Um,
tight. Right? I like Drew Gooden a lot.
yeah, 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 I like both of them, but yeah, like Danny will do like, a song within a video that's like related to the video, and then also put out the song separately. And
Yeah.
that might be a good way to do it.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know.
Think on it.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I think
Anything else
I
for
think
the people?
no, I think we're good. If you live in Massachusetts, vote Ed Markey.
Maki.
Yeah,
Um,
I told the people when we got there, I was like, I mean, I like Ed Markey, but I need Seth Moulton to lose.
right.
It was
Yeah.
I don't care if Markey wins. I just need Seth Moulton to lose.
Yeah. Yeah.
So please,
Um,
I just want that guy to just be a Republican. He clearly just wants to be a Republican.
I know.
Just let's crack that egg for him.
God, it was so like grotesque the way like some of these fucking like preppy white boy politicians after Kamala lost, they were like, we got to stop being woke. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know if I want my kids to,
troglodytes.
yeah, I don't want my kids to play sports with trans people. Like, what the fuck are you saying, man? Shut the fuck up. Like, that drove me so crazy because it was like, you think Kamala lost because of trans issues? She didn't fucking talk about it at all. Like, it's like the Trump like they them ad just broke their brains. They were like, that's what did it, man. Like, no. No one cares.
A lot of things that went into it, but I guarantee you, if that affected it at all, it was very small. It was
Right.
more, gaslighting on the economy, gaslighting
Right.
on the genocide that we were all watching happening. Anyway, but, I'm not going to relitigate that here. Okay.
All right. Well,
right.
good show.
Well, Merry Christmas. I'll see you. I'll see you next week, unless one
Later.
of us doesn't feel like it.